So good morning and welcome back to another episode of Tarot and Tea. I'm Safrianna Lughna, the Queer Spirit Guide. And as always, I just love being live with you all and having the opportunity to drop in to the moment, to the energy that's here and see what messages are coming through. So just in case this is your first time stumbling across me, I am a Druidic Priestess of Brigid, a licensed therapist and a transformational mentor. And I go live every Monday to tune into the collective energy, pull a few cards, give you a collective update. And then I do the tea portion, which is my own personal update. And this week is probably going to be a long one because there's been a lot of updates. So I'm just going through my tarot deck here as I'm live and resetting it. Feels like it's ready for an energetic reset now that we're on the other side of the summer solstice. So let's tune in and see what the message from the tarot is this week for us all. I feel like we're in deja vu. The Lovers reversed. The Lovers reversed. This came up for us recently. I feel like, of course, all the time blends together for me over here, but I feel like this came up very recently. And of course, when it's upright, it's a great deal about love and fulfillment and union and choice and surrender. And reversed is about indecision. It can be about destructive love. It can be about romantic problems and separation, but it can also be a separation from ourself and our own divine inner union. So right here on the other side of the summer solstice, pulling this is really saying to me like, hey, have you finished reflecting? Have you finished really standing in your power at the height of this season and seeing how your own inner union is unfolding? You know, how are you tending to that inner marriage? Are you listening to your mind, or are you also listening to your body and your heart? Are you allowing there to be this merging of experiences within you that lead you to higher? Or are you trying to play flat, play one-dimensional, play just one little role or one little part of yourself? This is very much about you stepping in and asking where you can let go of jealousy, indecision, destructive patterns, anything like that, and step back into that harmony, that union within you. So, our tarot message of the week, the Lovers reversed. So let's see, in this, moment of really needing to harmonize within ourselves, how can we support ourselves and what's on the other side of that? Okay, so this is a how to support ourselves. Another how to support ourselves. And then what's on the other side of this? All right. So how do we move through this? Orion Activation. It's our first oracle card here, and these are from the Gateway of Light activation, which felt very appropriate given our solstice season. So this is about the energy of the supernova. This is about recreation or recreation, renewal, and being rebirthed by light. So what a lovely solstice time message, to be rebirthed in the light. So as you are standing here on the other side of this threshold, how do you allow the light to really shine through you, radiate through every cell of your being, and rebirth you into something new? So there's an invitation here to play with the energy, to do some energy work, but really to stand in the light of who you are. So with this Lovers reverse, that might be the struggling union, is the union between your shadow and your light. And this is kind of saying, hey, lean extra into that light, not the unaligned light, not the artificial light, but the light of your soul spark, your fire, the reason you came here to be, and stand in that. Walk through the gateway of standing in the light of who you really are and who you're here to be. Our other support is a Pleiadian activation. So I just love, we have two activations. These are the two activations of here's how to support yourself. in this inner union. And the Pleiadian activation is coming together, harmony in the heavens, and resolution. So how do you allow there to be harmony and resolution between maybe two very distinctly different parts of you that might be duking out inside right now? Who are the two wolves inside of you, and where are they not agreeing? And this activation is really inviting you to listen to that union, to listen to that possibility of harmony within you, harmony in the heavens. The kingdom of heaven is within you, one of my favorite Bible quotes. This is really inviting you to find that inner resolution. So really the answer that we're getting is to go back inward. If you feel like you're in this stall of self-harmony right now, to go back inward and listen to yourself, to allow yourself resolution. So this this is what I'm picturing, is this little rub, this grind between inner parts of us that aren't necessarily getting on in agreement. This is saying, hey, harmonize them, because that's literally what's causing this disharmony in that inner union, that inner marriage. And then what is on the other side of this? So as we bring parts of us back together that might be feeling very separate, what is opening to us? And it is halls of a mentee initiation. So not an activation, but an initiation. And this is really about our secrets being revealed and treasures untold being found, and also initiations in general. So this is about when we go in and we listen to that divine union between the mind and the body. I can't help but think of the heart chakra card that we drew for last week, which was very much about the frequency of connecting the mind and the heart, or the mind and the body, in a new way. That's what's coming through here too, is when we have this inner union, this joining of all parts of ourselves, we can step into the next level. We can read what is in the blueprint for us to follow next. So this is really inviting you to allow this uncomfortable unfolding to happen. Allow yourself to experience this divine inner union, even if it's scary, even if parts of you are like, we don't like that part of us. We want to kick them out. We don't like them. That's the invitation to really work with that part of you, because that inner union is going to allow you to step to the next level. If you choose to bypass these parts of you that are trying to get your attention, they're just going to get louder. And I feel like that is why the Lovers Reversed has come up for us here, is that it's hard to listen to the prompting of our heart the first time. It's hard to hear from some of those uncomfortable parts of us sometimes, but the invitation is very, very clear. Allow this union to happen, allow this inner marriage to happen, and it'll all be okay. You'll be able to step into your purpose, your mission, uncover your gifts even more than you already have, because you've already uncovered some of them, right? So let me retrieve our card off the floor here. And, actually, I want to pull one more card before I do a recap. My guide Draxus has been very particular lately that he wants us to get more sacred geometry energy activations. So he asked that we pull a frequency for this week to guide us as well. And it is Gaia. Beautiful green, blue. This is like the ocean and the earth. The frequency of Gaia reminds us that we are infinitely connected to one another, just as we are to our Great Mother and to the universe that birthed us all. So what a beautiful frequency message, and this interconnectedness of ourselves and the world around us, also so relevant to this week's cards. So let's talk about this full spread. So the Lovers Reversed is reminding us this week to listen to those parts in us that are maybe having conflict. And also, of course, looking externally. Are there people that we are jealous of? Is there indecision happening? Is there relational friction we need to look at? But look within first. What's happening inside of you where you might need a little bit more inner union and harmony? And so I asked for some help in that, some energy to assist, and we got the Orion Activation, this encouraging us to really step into our light, to shine our light, to step through this portal or this gateway. And of course, it being the summer solstice season right now, it is the perfect time to stand in our light. We simply need to remember not to be in that unaligned light where we're pretending, but to instead really stand in the truth and the power of who we are. Then we have the Pleiadian Activation, and this is literally a card of harmony. It's reminding us that the whole work is harmony. So really allowing yourself to sink in and listen to the parts of you that are showing up. Allow those parts to come together and to seek resolution so that this rub, this conflict can fade. Again, if this is something that's happening externally with you right now, where can you take ownership and step into healing? And then finally, on the other side of all of this, when we find that inner union, when we allow that harmony to unfold, more secrets are revealed. The treasure within us is uncovered. We get to step more and more and more into our power and our purpose. And we get initiated. We're already constantly being initiated, let's be real. But we get initiated intentionally, in alignment with that wholeness that we are. And I think that that is the big reminder of the lovers, is the wholeness as we are, that inner union, that sacred shadow light, masculine, feminine, doing, being, whatever you want to call it. Like when we can land in that and be really embodied, anything is possible for us. And then the frequency to hold us through this work is Gaia. It's this reminder that the earth is always here for us, that she supports us, that you can connect in with her power at any time. And you were birthed here on this beautiful planet. And she is what sustains and holds you. So even if you feel like you're going through a rough time, if you feel like there's some relational rub that you're working through, or you are working through a shadow within yourself, know that Mama Gaia has your back and is here to support. So that is our reading for the week. And now we will transition into the tea portion, which is my personal updates. So today I am drinking Lady Londonberry, which is a black tea, an Earl Grey spinoff, in my new mug, my new Safrianna Lughna mug. This was gifted to me by my wonderful web designer and brand architect and magical infinite being, Barb. And Barb, Infinity Brand Design. She's just incredible. But this is my logo on a mug. How cool is that? So, celebrating all that's coming together in my world. And of course, all that still feels complex in my world too, because I'm human. So this last Monday, I had a pre-recorded tarot and tea go out because I was actually not gone yet, but I was literally packing the car and getting ready to leave, and reposting this every Monday. It takes some time, so I had done that in advance. And I spent 2.5 days out on the land at a little cottage in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. And it was a lot to be by myself in nature, to cut myself off from technology. I didn't take a laptop. I didn't want to land myself in a situation where I felt compelled to do a lot of work. And I did end up doing some work in the form of brainstorming what is to come for me in the future. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. But it was really just a reset for me. It was an opportunity to drop into my own stillness and really listen to myself. So Oh my gosh, like I could spend the next hour or more unpacking all of it. But ultimately what I walked away with is I needed an opportunity to grieve in my own time, in my own space, in my own way, everything that's fading away and falling away in my life. If you've been along for the journey, you know that I'm separated from my spouse and we are pursuing legal divorce, and that has been something that I never envisioned getting to that point, where that would be the necessary path. And by the time that I knew it was the necessary path, I had gone into that sort of logical overdrive of just, okay, well, this makes sense. Of course, it's the path, blah, blah, blah. And I think that stilted or shut down some of the grief process because I was so in my head and in the constant flow of production and showing up and being a public figure, even if I'm not, a super famous public figure or anything like that. Like, I am still living my life out loud. People do still see what's happening with me. And, it was necessary to let the world know what was going on because of all the rebranding that was happening and all of that. And so I didn't have the spaciousness, or I didn't allow myself the spaciousness to really get into the depths of all that was bringing up for me. And so that was part of the trip away, was letting myself feel all of those feelings. And I think in the first 24 hours I was there, like, I had cried more in those hours than I had in probably months. And I have been crying a lot more recently, which is actually a really good thing. I won't get into too much detail, but crying had been very challenging for me for many years for some big reasons that I'm not going to air publicly. But yeah, crying was really, really hard for a while there. So for me to reclaim crying, to reclaim this grief, and to move through that, and to be within ritual, to show up with myself in that way, was really, really powerful and challenging. And I was in the middle of kind of nowhere. There were some teen boys riding on an RV, which threw me for a loop for a second when I was outdoor naked sunbathing, because I really thought it was private. But we learned that lesson quick and put a robe on. But I needed to kind of soak up my own energy and be in my own vibes. And so by the final day that I was there, I had done a lot of healing and clearing work and energy work and listening to the land. And again, like, stuff I could spend hours sharing in here. And so on the final day, I felt really ready to plant some seeds and sort of dream what was coming next. And I've been kind of vague intentionally for a while, but since 2023, there has been a group, a circle, something that has been percolating in my heart center. And I had written curriculum ideas. I had written the mission. I had written who it's for. I had done all of these different things. But it wasn't until this moment on this trip that it started to really settle, like, oh, this is the flavor of potentially what's coming through. And so the program, I feel very confident in sharing with you that it's going to be called Anchored by Earth. And it is going to be a reminder to us all to anchor into Mama Gaia. Speak of our card frequency of the week, Gaia here. This is the opportunity to really, really gather with others who want to be anchored by Earth, to remember that even in the human swirl, we are held by her. So that is a big thing that's coming through, and I'm sure I will share so many more details on that in the near future. But it was a big part of the trip to really plant that seed and see the pinnacle, the evolution, the something of my druidry and that path coming forward to hopefully co-create something amazing with others. And so, Anchored by Earth, I am planning a soft launch this Samhain season. And so that, if you're unfamiliar in the Wheel of the Year, Samhain is Halloween time. It's like October 31st, November 1st. I traditionally celebrate Samhain on November 1st. And that will be when I will open this gateway to see what wants to unfold as we anchor into the earth together. But yeah, it was a grief processing trip. It was a celebration. It was a connection. I am so covered in bug bites. I don't think we can really see them on camera, but like I even have one right here. They're all over my hands. The bugums were a little severe on this trip. But other than that, I don't really have any complaints aside from the fact that I could not sleep because my body is picky. But lots of good things moved through. So that trip, I'm sure I'm going to be writing about for a while and continuing to just explore what's coming through. But on other personal notes, one of the things that came through was a major change in how I'm doing my moon ceremonies. So for going on 3-ish years now, I have been providing new moon and full moon ceremonies live on YouTube free of cost. And I got the message that that's changing. And it feels really strange to be in the midst of this change because my moon ceremonies are in a large part my heart and soul offering that, you know, they're offered freely to anyone who wants to reach them. And we had some reality checks, right? I do so much work every week. I'm probably still working an 80-hour work week on most weeks, which is not really breaking away from my norm of having been a public school teacher or a nonprofit therapist. And my energy has to change. The amount of outpour that I constantly give above and beyond has to change in order for something to change, because what I've observed is that me showing up in all of these ways has not moved my quote unquote needle forward. And what I mean by that is it has not helped me sustain my life further, nor has it necessarily reached everyone that it needs to reach out there. And so this has put me in a tough bind of, do you continue to do what you're doing when what you're doing is not necessarily reaching the people it needs to reach? And it's keeping me in a perpetual cycle of constantly creating new content and constantly showing up live and constantly offering for free. And so here is what I came to with the moon ceremonies in particular. I am going to continue to do the full moon ceremonies as I have been, live on YouTube, free of cost, all that good stuff. And that is going to continue. I'm also going to continue to offer some new moon ceremonies completely free, but that is going to change. I'm no longer going to do any new moon ceremonies on YouTube unless it happens to fall on an eclipse or some special occasion where I feel really pulled to do a new moon ceremony. Instead, I am going to offer members of my Heartbeat group, which if you're not already a member of, it is completely free. It's on the Heartbeat app, which can be accessed via phone or computer. It is one of those weird platforms where you don't even have a login. You just get a magic link to your personal inbox, and that's how you go relog back in. I know that throws people. But Heartbeat, my community, is called the Rebel Elements. And I am going to offer a once a season new moon manifestation ceremony to my Heartbeat members. Again, completely free. So that is not going to change. But that will be private. That will be on Zoom. And that will only be open to members of the Heartbeat who can click the event and get the Zoom link in the Heartbeat. Maybe it'll go out to the moon mailing list, but I'm not going to be offering it publicly. I'm not going to be advertising it. It is going to be one of those things like you have to already be on my list, because this is going to be much more intimate and focused on that sort of seasonal, what am I seeding? What's here? What's new? Where am I going? And we'll continue to have those full moons every month to be an anchoring point, to clear our energy, to still drop into what is. But I want to refine, and I want to give myself some time back because showing up for years and years and years, and it's like the same 5 people, and I love those 5 people, but again, like, I would rather just have a private ceremony with those 5 people, and really know that they're going to get something, than continue a strategy that's clearly not supporting people. So, or me, again, I got to factor me in, and I'm just recognizing how much I show up and I produce and I do. And I give freely because I want people to have access to magical opportunities, whether they can pay or not. Speaking of which, my Pay What You Can for my birthday month ends on June 30th. I have officially opened that link to the public now as of today for the final week, the final, 8 days of the month. And that is for my one-on-one 55-minute sessions or my one-on-one reawakening rituals, which are 90 minutes. The hour-ish long sessions can be used for whatever you want: coaching, guidance, mentorship, business strategy, relational healing, communication stuff, getting a tarot reading, literally whatever you want in the hour that is in my skill house, my wheelhouse as a coach, a mentor, a guide, a druidic priestess, a Reiki master. Like, the whole wheelhouse can fall under that. And similarly, the reawakening ritual, you actually fill out a pre-form questionnaire that helps me know how to co-facilitate the ritual with you when we gather together. So the deal with the Pay What You Can, the link will be here in the replay. So if you come back here, if you're live, when the replay goes up, the link will be here. Otherwise, if you want it now, just reach out. But that is good through June 30th. You do not have to book your session with me by the 30th. You just have to pay for your session with me by the 30th. And then I will send you the prepaid link so you can book. And I'm doing this because I have had so many people say that they want to work with me and that my cost at this time is out of reach. Totally reasonable, understood. That is why I decided this month to celebrate myself, to celebrate my opportunities in the world. I wanted to do a pay what you can, and it's genuinely pay what you can. You could pay me $1 for a session, and I will accept that because that is what I am opening to, is no barrier. If that's what you need, $1, that's fine. So far people have done somewhere between 50 and 115, depending on the session, and that's fine too. It's literally whatever works for you that leaves you feeling like, oh, thank God I got to have that session. I got to work with her and receive at a level that feels good for my nervous system right now, right? So again, please don't hesitate to book with me this month if that feels good to you. I would love to support. And if money is ever the barrier, don't hesitate to reach out because I get it, friend. I really get it. And I like to look for flexible options for people who know that working with me is going to be the game changer. So let's see, other than that, my personal updates. Well, people are certainly starting to really get on me about the sequel to The Wind Sings Sorrow. So let me just give you a little update about The Wind Sings Sorrow. The Wind Sings Sorrow launched last July, and it was soft launched to the people who had pre-ordered the book. And the feedback has been tremendous. It's been wonderful. I've reread the book. I'm really proud of it. Then came the uploading to IngramSpark. And I don't know that I've shared much of that live, but it was just kind of a mess. And IngramSpark, for being the monopoly on book publication and pushing to libraries and stores and all of that, doesn't seem to have a lot of staff right now. So it took them over a month to get back to my customer service request. And we finally finished uploading the book the way that it needed to be on that platform. And then on my birthday, I ordered my copy of the book. It's the 22nd. I ordered on my birthday, so June 6th. And I just got a shipping notification this morning that the book is being moved towards the warehouse now. So IngramSpark's really slow is what I've learned. Like really, really slow, because we're talking 2+ weeks to even ship the book. And that's an at full cost copy of the book. It's not even a proof copy of the book. So I'm like, okay, all in perfect timing, but I'm hoping that I'm going to have my copy by the 1-year anniversary so that I can do an official full launch of the book. But having said that, people are starting to really wonder when book 2 is going to get here. And that's the sort of complicated place I find myself in, is this juxtaposition between being a professional therapist, wanting to completely move away from that to be predominantly a guide and mentor when I'm working with people, but really at the end of the day, wanting my career, my vocation, my calling, my everything to be writing my books. And the universe still has not made that path obviously known to me, but that's part of this story. Like, I wonder at times if the reason why I'm feeling all of this throttling, why I have been banned off of social media, why I have almost no reach on any of my social platforms, like, what if that is the universe trying to get me to write more? Right? It's just really messy. It's a big, messy question. And I'm not quite sure what to make of it. But I do know I'm meant to be writing more. And I really want to work on book 2. I have still 2.5 chapters written of it, and I haven't done any more. And that has to change. Like, it really, really has to change, because people out there want to read those words. I know that because literally on Friday of last week, several friends of mine were like, you need to work on that book. We need to know what happens. We need to know what's going to happen to these characters. So, yeah, this messy human acceptance of how sometimes we know something in our heart and our intuition and every fiber of our being that we're meant to be doing, and yet the world around us does not seem to be caught up yet. And that's where I find myself, and being okay to be here. That's the work right now. And being okay to be here and expand into my writing and make more time for my writing. So as I wrap up June, my plan is to wrap up a lot of the loose ends and the energy leaks that I identified while I was away on my trip needed to be handled. And then hopefully to get back to some writing, like some hardcore writing, because not only do I have the second book of the fiction series to write, but I'm really also hoping to release Alchemy for an Embodied Life, aka Elements of Success, the book, which is based off the course I just finished teaching at the beginning of the month for the Passionistas TV network. So I think that's all I have for you today, friends. Like I said, I'm percolating. There's a lot coming through over here. My trip still feels like it's unfolding, but it was an immense release. The grief was a lot. The inspiration was a lot. The bug bites were a lot. But I'm back home now, back into some of my routines, and also breaking some of those old patterns so that I can show up with more energy and more enthusiasm for what I'm doing. So if I can support you in some way, friend, please do not hesitate to reach out. Guide@safrianna.com is my best email. I'm here on Substack, YouTube, LinkedIn. I'd love to support you wherever I can. And if you would like to work with me, don't hesitate to find out how we can. I offer 15-minute complimentary consultation calls where we just chat about what I do, what you're looking for, and how I might be able to support. So don't hesitate to reach out. And otherwise, please, 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 like, subscribe, do the socials thing to let the platforms know that this content is valuable to you, that it's making a difference in your life. Share it with someone who might benefit from it. I'm going to try and get better at actually saying that, like all of the YouTubers with thousands of followers getting actual reach are doing. Because I'm like, oh, maybe I should actually ask for people to support in that way. So thanks so much for tuning in, whether you were live with me or in the replay. Know that I love you so much. I see you, I believe in you, and I'm cheering you on. And until next time, I'm Safrianna Lughna. Bye for now.